Hey everybody, Platinum Cast here. Want to talk to you guys about a series I've been getting back into, RWBY. You guys might have heard about it. It's on Rooster Teeth and Verve. It's a pretty cool series. It's methodical, it's magical, and it's really great at world building. It takes a good while to get into, but personally, I think it's one of the better series that's been coming out over the past couple of years. And if you haven't checked it out, I think it's worth watching. They recently came out with a new season a couple weeks ago. I just got caught up maybe a day or two ago. And it's a really great series. First 5 episodes are coming out, and today I'm going to review them. And a quick disclaimer to anybody who hasn't checked out the series: this is going to be a quick review going through 1 through 5. It won't be going in depth, and I'm not going to be talking about the earlier seasons. But I do recommend you guys check it out. Go to Verve, go to Rooster Teeth, or whatever streaming service you use, and check out the series. It's definitely worth watching. And without further ado, I'm going to go right into it. So starting off, we see Team RWBY is back together. Blake, Weiss, Yang, and RWBY. The gang's back with Ozpin, Crow, Team Juniper, and they're on their way to Atlas right now, trying to deliver a relic. And they're currently in this commuter rail that's equipped with like turrets and guards. And I'm watching this season kick off, and I'm like, why do you guys even need all this equipment? Like, it's just a train ride to Atlas, right? RWBY sets you up with that fantastic beginning that they only know how to do, and it's incredible because we start things off with the Grimm attacking the commuter rail, and when they're attacking the commuter rail, the guards and the turrets immediately fail. So who's got to step up to the plate? Team RWBY, Weiss, what's her name, Blake, and Yang give these guys their hands. Ozpin gets in there with little Oscar's body. You see Crow getting some action in with the 2 scythe action with RWBY. You know, it's like a master-student relationship, but it's still really fun to watch because they got their own dynamic. Yeah, Team Juniper's in on it too. They all giving everybody the hand. I think this show does a great job with giving everybody some screen time, because a lot of shows, they just forget what certain characters can do. And this show, they try to give everybody a little touch here and there. And we quickly learn that the reason why the Grimm are attracted to the commuter rail is because the relic that they're carrying to Atlas, the one that Ozpin never seems to want to reveal to anybody, is attracting the Grimm to their location. And the first thing RWBY brings up is, we can't let civilians be getting hurt. And this is where I'm just starting to appreciate how the show's developing. Because when RWBY started out, I didn't really care for RWBY as a main character. She was okay, she didn't stand out to me though. But now she's trying to give leadership roles. She's not trying to be very authoritative, like, hey, do what I say, do this, do that. But she's more fitting into her role now as the leader of the team. So when she sees that the civilians are in danger, she's like, no way we're gonna let this happen. We gotta make a plan to make sure that these guys get away safely. So so the team comes up with a plan that we're gonna split the commuter rail into 2. Team Juniper is gonna go with the civilians to make sure they can get away, and Team RWBY is gonna stay behind and keep fighting the Grimm. This is what I mean when I say that that the show RWBY knows how to give everybody some screen time. Because there's Ren, Ren or Ken? I'm gonna say Ren. And there's Ren, who has a semblance that lets him mask the presence of his emotions, of his negative emotions, which attract the Grimm. And he uses that on a grand scale because of John's ability to magnify abilities. And let me just start off by saying, John has had the worst luck in this show. He doesn't get enough love as I think he should, but recently he's been given the semblance of amplification and healing. So now he's become a very key character in the group, especially when it comes to fighting more powerful opponents, like we saw in last season finale. And in this episode, in the first episode or second episode, we see him amplify Ren's ability so that he can mask the entire commuter rail, and no one's negative emotions or their presence were completely masked. The Grimm didn't even notice them, and they were able to get away safely. While the other half of the commuter rail was with Team RWBY, Crow, and Ozpin, and some little old lady for whatever reason. And I honestly don't know why the little old lady's on that commuter rail, but they gave the Grimm the hands. They kept fighting the best they could, and they obviously defeat them. But after they defeat the Grimm, the commuter rail derails, and they crash into a blanket of snow. And now that they're stuck in the snow, they get the relic, and Ozpin, who claims that the relic is no longer any use to them because it's a answering relic. It's all about knowledge. It can answer any question that you provide it. And Ozpin, who didn't even tell them that it could attract Grimm, also claims that the relic was already used up for all of his 3 questions. So Oscar, who Ozpin has been taking over this whole time, forces himself to reawaken, and he's like, no, he's lying to you. He's keeping something hidden. He's actually not telling you the truth about this relic. If you really want to activate this relic, call its name. And I think he just said Jin or some specific name, I forget. But when RWBY sees the relic and she activates it, Ozpin goes into a fit of rage, and he's like, no, don't answer any questions. No, don't activate that relic. Don't do anything that I don't want you to do. And Ozpin's been really secretive lately. Everybody's been feeling some type of way about it, especially Yang and Team Juniper, because they're like, why are you endangering us? Why can't you be honest with us? You claim to be the defender of humanity and that we should all be honest and kind to one another, but you're keeping things secret? That don't make sense. You can't say one thing and do another. You should be able to act on what you preach, you know? But that's not enough, because Ozpin still doesn't want to give them answers. So they're like, you know what, if you don't want to tell us, we're going to find out for ourselves. So they grab the relic and they activate the Jin. And we see this luscious looking blue Jin come out of the relic. And the first thing that goes through my head is like, wait, you look just like this Jin that came out of Maggie. She was blue, she was giant, and I was like, I swear, one of these Jin from Maggie looked just like her. But I'm not going to delve too much into that. I just thought it was worth mentioning because, well, I've only seen Jin in a couple anime, and Maggie's one of them, and they made him blue and giant, so, you know. But once the Jin is activated, RWBY asks the question, we want to know what Ozpin has been hiding. And Ozpin just goes off. He starts dashing at her. RWBY tries to grab her, and right before he gets a chance to, she answers the question. And just like any genie, once she starts, she can't be stopped. So rather than just give a simple answer, this Jin decided to make a whole episode about it. And it turns out, to answer the question, you have to first know the origin of both Ozpin and Salem. Yes, Salem, the big bad of RWBY. And I was just so thrown back by this. I'm like, I didn't see this coming. We have to deal with, we have to learn about Salem to get to know Ozpin. Well, they've been at war for centuries apparently, or maybe millenniums. But I always assumed that, you know, they were just, he was good, she was evil, that was it. No. Team RWBY was like, let's learn about this thing. So we get into it. And this is the part where this is the part that got me really excited for the new season, because the first 2 episodes were good. But once I heard there was an origin story coming out for them, I was like, yo, I gotta get this on Platinum Cast. But before I get into that, I do want to mention that Cinder was revealed to still be alive after her battle with Raven, Yang's mother. And she is currently in some water town where I guess it never stops raining. And she goes to, what's it called? Some spider-themed gang. And she says, I want you to find RWBY for me. They're willing to do it, but they said, you know, we're going to hold off on helping you out until we, until we find out that you're not worth anything. And of course, they later find out that she might be worth something, but I'll touch on that later. So now let's get into the origin story. So now we're learning about Salem's origin story, and apparently she starts off with a Rapunzel story where she's locked in a tower and she needs a prince to save her. Well, not necessarily a prince, but she just needs somebody to save her because she's locked up there for whatever reason. And she's very solitary in there, and she just wants somebody to keep her, someone to set her free. And I guess all the heroes in the world decided, if we can get her out of that tower, we get her hand in marriage. But honestly, I don't even think Salem was for it. She just wanted to get out of the tower. So all these heroes come to Salem's aid, all of them fail, except for one hero. And guess who it is? It's Ozpin. But at the time, his name wasn't Ozpin, it was Ozma. And this is his first form. Not like his, you know, if he dies, he comes to another party like he did with Oscar. This was who he was originally before all of the resurrection stuff, and we're gonna get into that. So Ozpin goes to save Salem from the tower. He saves her, and they live a life happily together. Even though she wasn't really looking for love, she fell in love with him because of his valor, I want to say. But I still feels like she was gonna fall in love with whoever saved her, unless he's just that charismatic, which I don't know. But shortly after that, they run away together. Ozma and Salem go to the woods, and they live a life happily ever after, and they're trying to be okay with the life they have now. But for some reason, Ozma falls ill to some sickness, and I'm just like, you can fight the worst evils in the world, but you lose the common cold. I don't know. And Salem refuses to let it end like this. But after all of her efforts, she still loses her husband, Ozma. And she's like, okay, you know what? This isn't okay. And apparently in this world, there are two gods that exist. A god of light and a god of dark. And these aren't like the gods that you usually have, where they're just in some ethereal plane where they can only see you from afar. No, apparently these gods are very accessible, because Salem just walks up to both of these gods, well, in two different manners. So first she goes up to the god of light, and she's like, oh, great god of light, please give me back my my former love, Ozma. Bring him back to me. And the god of light's like, I mourn for you, but I won't bring him back. It will throw things out of balance. And she's like, oh, you won't do it? Fine. I'm gonna go to the underworld and talk to your brother. And I'm just like, you really did a quick 180, huh? If you can't talk to God of Light, you're gonna go straight to God of Darkness. Okay. These gods are very accessible, and they have a lot of free time apparently, because they're just taking in any request that comes. Well, not taking requests, they're just taking appointments. So she meets with the God of Dark now, and she's like, hey, I really appreciate everything you're about. I love darkness. It's what my whole character is. Of course, this isn't true at the time. Currently, Salem is just, regular girl, but who misses her loved one. So she's like, oh, please bring back my former lover, and I think you're the only one who can do it. Never mentioning that the God of Light already told her no. God of Darkness is like, you know what? I don't get a lot of visitors. I appreciate your conviction. You know what? Sure. Brings her husband back. Ozma returns, but quickly we see the God of Light return, and he shows up going like, I already told you no. And then they go have a back and forth, erase Ozma, resurrect Ozma, erase Ozma, resurrect Ozma. That probably did a number on Salem's mentality. She's like, how many times am I gonna watch my husband die? But eventually they do battle, and they start fighting it out. But they quickly learn that they're being manipulated by by Salem, because Salem never mentioned to the God of Darkness that the God of Light already told him no, and they already have a good equilibrium thing going on where they don't try to get in each other's way. They're like, okay, I respect your wishes, you respect my wishes, I'll stay out of your way, you stay out of my way. All right, cool. But once they realize that Salem was trying to dupe them, they're like, okay, you want to mess with the gods are gonna mess with you. So they give her immortality now, and they have a cruel sense of humor. All this woman wanted was to be with her husband again. Wouldn't it make more sense to kill her and just let her be with her husband? No, she was being selfish. I was like, the God of Light's like, I felt bad for you at first, but now you're being a bitch about it, so I'm gonna make you immortal so you can never see your husband again. And the God of Darkness is like, you can't be with your guy. And he's just like, whatever. But now she's immortal and forced to walk the earth alone, never to see her husband again. And this pisses Salem off. So now Salem's like, you know what? I'm not gonna stand for this. You guys wanna mess with me? Alright. You thought immortality was a curse? I'm gonna turn it into a blessing. So she uses this immortal time that she now has to walk the earth. That was creepy. She uses this immortal time to walk the earth, and now she's like, okay, all leaders of the world, lend me your ear. I'm gonna tell you about the opportunity of a lifetime. If you all join with me, and if you all join with me and rise against the old gods, we can become the new masters of the world. She decides that it'd be best to take on the gods. I'm already thinking this isn't gonna go well. So when she assembles her giant army with pretty much everybody in the world, and mind you, magic actually exists in this realm. It's not like in the current state of RWBY where they don't say the word magic. It's simply just equipments or semblances. They actually had magic and they were able to use it very efficiently. But once all of these armies came together to fight the God of Light, or both the God of Light and God of Dark, they were just done. We're not doing this. They immediately wiped out everybody on Earth except for Salem. And Salem is once again forced to be alone. So she's now traveling the Earth alone again, wondering what is the point of life? Because not only did you erase her husband, the one person she wanted to be with, so you could have brought him back or just killed her and she would have been happy. No, you made her alone again. And the gods just abandoned the world and she's just forced to walk alone. But then she makes her way to the God of Darkness's domain, which again is just accessible because why not? She goes to the God of Darkness's domain and jumps into the sea of darkness so that she can remove the immortality curse and be with her lover again. That doesn't work, and it actually has a worse effect. It turns her into the current evil Salem that we all know in the current state of RWBY. So she becomes the dark, white, pale-faced, white-haired villain that we all know and love, and she's now tormented even more because she's like, you know what? I have new perspective on life. Why should I let the world just be as it is? Let me fight the world and cause even more chaos so that I can just piss off the gods even more and cause as much imbalance in the world as possible. And this is the part where it throws me off because I could have sworn that the God of Light destroyed the world, or God of Light and God of Dark erased all humanity. But she's still tormenting people, which just threw me off. I don't know if she found another world. I don't know if the gods just brought back the people so that they can just do another round of let's see how the world works type of demo. Because, you know, if 1.0 didn't work, just make Earth 2.0. Let's see what happens. But she's now tormenting people again. She's causing chaos all over the world. So the God of Light goes into limbo to meet Ozma. The same Ozma that he refused to resurrect in the first place. He's like, hey, remember your wife Salem? Well, she's kind of being crazy right now, and we need you to fix it. You know, we're not going to mention the fact that we refuse to bring you back to life, but, you know, she's not in the afterlife waiting for you. So why don't you just, you know, hop back to the land of the living, not in your own body, of course, and go handle that situation. Ozma, who just wants to get back to his lover, is like, you know what? I'm for it. I'm not going to see her in the afterlife, so let's just make this thing happen. I know that she could be crazy, but I think I can get through to her. So Ozma is now given his first host, and he is the only person in the world right now who can use magic. And he's hearing these rumors about how Salem is causing mayhem across the world, and he eventually meets with her again. But even though she looks different, even though he's in a different body, the two of them immediately sync up and they're like, oh, I remember you. Oh, I remember you. And they fall back in love like nothing has ever changed. And they're just like, okay, I'm not gonna tell him that the God of Light wants me to kill you. She's like, I'm not gonna tell him that I've been causing chaos all over the world, because they still want to be in each other's good circles, you know. I don't want you to hate me. I've only been like this because of you. I still love you, and whatever. They're trying to keep everything copacetic. Word of the day. But Salem now proposes a new idea to Ozma. Husband, whatever. Hey, you know, we can be the new gods of the world. We're the only ones who could use magic. Why should we let these humans just do whatever they want? We can give them guidance. And as the only magic users, can anyone really stop us? And she plays on that idea a lot, because anyone who doesn't follow them is going to be attacked or destroyed or whatever she plans on doing with them. Ozpin is just feeling some type of way about it, because he's like, I don't think this is the right thing. I don't think we should be doing this. This doesn't seem right. And they also have kids, and Ozpin learns that his kids can do magic. Salem's all happy about it, saying, yes, we're bringing magic back into the world. Ozpin's like, are we gonna turn our kids into our image, where we're just gonna be like the tyrants? Ozpin's like, I don't really want this for our kids. I don't really want this for the world or anybody. And he tries to escape with his kids. Of course, Salem's like, you know, those are my babies. I'm taking them back, and I'm not letting you go nowhere. So she stops Ozpin from leaving with the children, and she murks him in the process. He's dead, he's gone, he's murdered, and that's it. Except, he's still been given the gift of immortality in this form of resurrection. So he comes back again, and just spends a couple lifetimes being depressed. I do want to mention though that I find it weird that we never hear about Salem's kids except for now. And Ozpin, who of course is secretive, won't tell us, but you'd think there would be some type of form about it. I did hear some theories that the Jinn could be the 4 kids, because I think there are 4 relics and there's supposed to be 4 Jinn, so maybe it's working like that, or maybe they're the maidens or something. But I feel like it's strange that the kids are just thrown in there, so I really hope that the show gives us more with that. But moving on, after spending a couple lifetimes being depressed and or drunk or whatever, Ozpin's like, you know what, time to get back on the mission. He's on his purpose and he's moving forward. He's trying to decide how to defeat Salem. But along the way, he realizes that Salem can't be killed. So he spends each lifetime preparing a militia. I'm gonna hold up. So Ozpin spends about a lifetime creating a militia to fight Salem. He stores weapons, he gets comrades, and over the years, he's assembling a force strong enough to fight Salem. But because Salem can't be killed, he starts to lose hope. And this is something he mentioned in an earlier episode. The reason why he doesn't want to give out too much information to Team RWBY isn't because he thinks they're not worth trusting. He's trusted people before, because remember, this man's been alive for centuries, if not millenniums. And he's had teammates, he's had friends, but they always managed to let him down. Either they betrayed him, they didn't trust him, maybe they even killed him themselves. We don't know. But he's alive long enough to know better. Like, you know when your parents say, I've been through all this before, I know what I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to look out for you? Maybe that's what Ozpin's coming from. So I can see where he's coming from in that perspective, but that doesn't help the morality of the group, because there's already tension everywhere, and especially between Blake and Yang. Ever since the end of last season, Yang has been trying to accept Blake back into the group, and while she's doing this, she's feeling tense moments with her. She's like, you know what, I want us to be cool, but I can't forget the fact that you straight up ditched us. And I want to say that has to do with her mother, because Raven, disappeared when she was a kid. But I don't think that mindset should be forced onto your friends, especially when you know that they really are looking out for you. Let's see. Okay. So after the origin story with Ozpin and Salem, we learned that Salem can't be killed. Ozpin is immortal, but at the same time also knows that Salem can't be killed. This hurts morality very hard for the group, but that also causes Ozpin to, I don't know if he became embarrassed or just he didn't want to deal with everybody, so he trapped himself in Oscar's mind, and Oscar is in full control of his body again, and Ozpin buries himself in the back of Oscar's head. Also, why does everybody that he takes over have the letter O? I don't know. I feel like that's just a random thing to have, or a random prerequisite. But one person who's really hurt by what they learned from the Jinn was Crow. Crow's semblance is to be unlucky. But he believed that because he joined Ozpin's crusade, that was the greatest luck of all, that he can do something with his life, that he is worth something, because he is instrumental in Ozpin's plans. But it turns out, but he says, You are the greatest misfortune I've ever had. I am just that unlucky, huh? I'm just that unlucky. And I just felt bad for Crow because this guy really can't catch a break. He finally finds someone who makes him feel like he's worth something, and guess what? He's not. Honestly, it feels like Ozpin's just trying to buy time until the world ends because he doesn't have an official plan to beat Salem. He's just making up as it goes along, and that's not something you want to hear from someone who's been around for millenniums and is supposedly the leader of your crusade. That's very discouraging, you know? But continuing on, the old lady who was there for no reason decides that she's going to become team leader and says, hey, stop being mad about the guy in that little boy's head. Yeah, that's the sentence. Let's get ourselves out of the snow. It is freezing out here. I want to survive. Let's get going. So they make their way and they find an abandoned town. And in this abandoned town, we see that, what is it happening? It's everybody's dead. The town it's like a ghost town. Everybody seems to have just fallen into a deep slumber and never woke up. But with the blizzard happening outside, Team RWBY is forced to make home there, and they have to find shelter, fire, food, whatever. There's still some more tension between Yang and Blake. They talk about Adam for a bit, but they still feel like Yang feels like she can't trust Blake for whatever reason. I feel like Yang is just too high strung, and I think that's too much of her character. Blake is trying to make an effort to make things right, which if I was in Blake's shoes, I would do that, I feel like I resonate with her more. But Yang's still being hot-blooded. Weiss is scared of the dead bodies. RWBY is just trying to find food to keep Weiss calm, and Crow is surveying the place. Oscar surveilling the place, and yeah, that's pretty much what happened in the latest episode. And Cinder got outed by the Spider Gang. The Spider Gang, like I said earlier, was only gonna keep Cinder around until they could find a bigger bounty for her. And there's some woman, I want to say her name was White, attacked Cinder because I guess she killed her boss. I want to say her boss was Raven, but I honestly don't remember. If any of you do, just leave a comment down below and let me know what it is, because that part lost me. And also, if you know why humans were resurrected in the world after the gods destroyed it all, let me know about that too. But Cinder and this woman fight. They're going at it. The semblance of this woman is really cool because she shatters herself into mirrors, which I think is very entertaining because I don't know how you would fight someone who can break themselves. But the fight doesn't go on for too long. Cinder and her go back and forth, but then Cinder activates her maiden powers. Her attacker all but submits, and then she's like, do not waste my time, do not waste your time. We both hate RWBY. Let's team up and let's find this girl. But yeah, Salem has to let Cinder back eventually. I think she just wants Cinder to redeem herself, but I'm not sure how it feels to be redeemed after you were abandoned for, I don't know how long it's been, weeks, maybe days, but she's on her own in the cold and everybody's trying to kill her. I guess that's just how a villain does it, but I could care less. But it feels like Salem is just interested in the relics because Ozpin wants them and she doesn't want her to have it. She doesn't want him to have it. And yeah, that's pretty much all that's happened in the first couple episodes. I think the show has a lot of potential, but I think that there still needs more. We still need more backstory about these relics because that origin story, as great as it was, didn't suffice for me. I want to see more. I want to learn about what the purpose of the relics is. What are the gods doing? Are they just spectators, or do they want to see Salem defeated? I want to learn about Ozpin's mindset. I feel like he has the most to say rather than just the Jinn. The Jinn can give you the story, but I feel like Ozpin can give you the reality. Or no, the Jinn can give you the reality, but Ozpin can tell you what he actually was thinking throughout the events. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you guys want to see anything else. I'm gonna keep doing RWBY videos, and I hope you all enjoy it.